I'm Andrew Johnstone, and this is part 2 of You're the Voice, a conversation with former Hamiltonian Chris Thompson, the first Kiwi to go to number 1 in the US singles charts and lead writer of the iconic 1980s pop anthem, You're the Voice. The mid-1980s, and now this is the story I've got. Correct me, because it seems like a lot of the stuff I've read about you is not quite on the money. You wanted to attend a nuclear disarmament rally in London. You missed it. You watched some of it on TV, and you were inspired to write a song.
That is absolutely correct. The part you're missing out is a whole bunch of us got together at my house. We decided, because you had to get up early in the morning to get into London. So I had a van, so we were all going to go in the van. We figured out where we were going to park, blah, 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 blah. And then we all had a bit too much to drink and went to sleep and missed it, basically. And then because it was on TV. So, I just thought at the end of that, geez, man, we should have had our voice on the day. And that's where the song comes from.
Now, you were the lead writer on that, so there were 4 of you all together finished the song. So explain the process of writing You're the Voice.
Well, as I said, I was working, I was being published by Rondor, and they had a lot of writers, and I'd been working with Andy Kunter. We wrote quite a few songs together, and I also wrote some songs with Maggie Ryder, one of the other writers. But Lance, the head of Rondor, said, why don't the three of you get together and see if you can write something as well? So we organised a day. I mean, songwriting, basically, you just organise a day and you all turn up and hopefully somebody's got an idea. So they turned up at my studio, and I already had programmed on my Lindrum the claps, that part. I had already programmed that on the Lindrum. So they came round my place. We had a cup of tea, and I pressed the Lindrum. I played bass actually on that, and Andy played on the piano, and Maggie Ryder played on the keyboards we had, and we were just playing and playing and playing and playing until we thought we had a verse, and then we worked on something else with some ideas. Everybody has ideas; they threw them in, and we basically put a backing track together, verse and chorus. And then we agreed we would meet. We would all work on the melody, and I had some melody ideas already for the verse, but I didn't have anything for the chorus. So we ended up the day with a verse with some melody ideas from me and nothing on the chorus. So we agreed to meet a couple of days later, and so I just had another cup of tea and went back into the studio and was playing. Obviously we recorded it, so I was going back in and playing it, and I just came up with this chorus, the whoa, the chorus idea. Whoa, I had that idea for the chorus, and so I was very happy with that. It sounded very good to me. And then I'd been working on it for an hour or so, and Maggie called me and she said, I've got an idea for the chorus. Can I come back? She lives quite close to where I was, and I said, oh, well, I've got an idea for the chorus as well. So, but yeah, come back. So she came back, and she sat down, and she went, da, 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 and I went, whoa, whoa, and that's what it was. That's how it happened. So and then I wrote a lyric, and when we all got together again, I'd written the lyric, and we had a look at the verse and the melody on the chorus and everything. Did you understand what I was saying about the chorus?
Yes.
Okay. And then so we all got together and meet again, and I showed everybody my lyric, and everybody thought, oh, okay, yeah, it's good. So, but I kept looking at the lyric, and I thought, this is a hit. I really believed in the song, and I thought it was a hit, but I didn't think that the lyric was as good as the song. A lot of it was good, but there were some lines that I didn't like, and I wanted to kind of, get it absolutely dead right. So I was working with Manfred, and he had an engineer called Steve Forward, and we were sitting there working one night, and Keith Reid was a friend of Steve Forward's, and he came in to say hello at the studio. And I just saw Keith, and I said, Keith, do you co-write? And he said, no. And I said, well, I've got this song. And he said, well, play it to me. So I played him what I had and showed him what I had as a lyric. And I said, look, I just think the lyric can be better than this. And so I sat with Keith for a few hours, and we got the lyric to where it is now. I mean, we had the title, we had a lot of the words, but we had a few lines that I didn't like, and Keith rewrote those lines with me at his place in about 4 hours, and that ended up by being the lyric for the song. So a very long, involved explanation of why there's 4 writers.
So what happens next? Now, there's a film out at the moment, a John Farnham film, and you appear in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And
I appear in the film as well.
Yes, you do, and he wants to sing the song, but you're not so keen.
Well, would you be if you came from New Zealand and the guy that sang Sadie the Cleaning Lady wants to sing the song that you believe could be a huge hit? I mean, I just said, no, sorry. I just don't think that he's the right guy to do it. And there was lots of toing and throwing on the telephone. And in the end, I said to them, look, all right, then send me something I can listen to. And so they sent me a cassette of him singing it. And of course, he's a wonderful singer. But I didn't know. I only knew Sadie the Cleaning Lady. So when I heard it, as soon as I heard it, it was fantastic. He sang, because I did the original demo, so he sang as I sang it, pretty much. And I was thrilled, because I spent a lot of time doing the demo, getting the vocal right, getting the words right, getting the music right. And he just did such a great arrangement of it, and the band played fantastically well. And it was marvelous. So, I said, yeah, go ahead. Fantastic, John. Thank you very much. And I'm glad I did, because, I had already recorded it myself. One of the next things that upset my life, I've been doing a record in America, and I played it to everybody and said, look, I've got this hit song. And the record company head said, no, nobody wants to listen to protest songs anymore. And that was the end of it. And John did it, and and the rest is history. Marvelous song. He did a great job. The band is great, and it's it resurrected his career and got us a hit record. Thank you very much, John.
Well, it was more than a hit record. I mean, it didn't chart very well in the States, but everywhere else it was a mega smash hit. It was an international mega smash hit, but it was more.
Yeah, well, that's another of the things for the music business. I mean, it was a hit everywhere, number one everywhere. So what do the Americans do? They decide, oh, we'll remix it. And so they remixed it and made it boring, basically, and it never got anywhere at all. And, they actually tried again with the next record to do it, but they, instead of using the original mix, they used the crappy remix again. So that's why it never was a hit in America. I keep waiting for somebody to do it, and because it is a hit record. There's no doubt about it. It's a hit, and it would only take, Harry Styles would have a hit with it, that's for sure.
We have a chance to turn the pages over. We can write what we want to write. We gotta make it speak before we get much older. Yeah. We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son.
just jump forward to 1990. You wanted to talk about This Is the Moment. Now we'll go back to your old mate Billy Crystal, Billy Christian. Sorry,
Billy Christian. Yeah.
Billy Christian. He is commissioned to write a song for the 1990 Commonwealth Games here in New Zealand, and it was Auckland, and he wrote "This Is the Moment," and he got you to come and sing it.
He did.
Now
Thanks, Billy.
I've got to say, reading about the song, I hadn't thought about it for years, but of course it's a really catchy song, and once you hear it again, you can't unhear it. It's stuck in your head.
It was fantastic to sing at the opening ceremony, and even more fantastic to sing at the closing ceremony in front of the Queen. And I mean, I just think it suited the occasion. And during rehearsals, when we were rehearsing with all the, for the opening ceremony and stuff, it was fantastic.
Now, what's your big story about the song?
Oh, the funny. Well, at the closing ceremony, as I said, it was in front of the Queen. So the Queen was at the closing ceremony, and I don't know whether you saw it, but there was 3 other singers with me. And you know what? I can't remember their names, but it's a shame I can't remember their names because it would make a much better story. But anyway, so we get to the end of the thing, and we were told it was on television. The Queen was coming, and the Queen was supposed to come out, say goodbye to everybody, and leave. And then all the athletes and everybody was supposed to come onto the stage, come onto the ground, and have a big kind of hoolie party. Anyway, so the signals got screwed up, and the Queen got stuck in front of the stage because everybody came out and jumped. They all ran out too soon. All the athletes and all their, trainers and all that kind of stuff. They came out and kind of surrounded the Queen. So the Queen's in front of me. I'm singing "This Is the Moment." I've got a guy in front of me because it's live television. I've got a guy in front of me going, "Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going." So I'm singing. This song is a really high song. It's really high, so I'm singing it, and I'm looking behind me because I can't hear the other singers. And the singers have disappeared. So I'm there singing this ridiculously high song by myself when there were supposed to be 3 other singers. Anyway, I survived and got to the end of it. But the Queen was really pretty close to me. And when I sing very high, I've got a big vein that sticks out on my neck. And because I was singing over and over again, this vein on my neck was singing. And the Queen looks to the Prince Philip, and she points at me, at my neck, and like, I think he's going to explode or something like that. Because I felt I was going to explode singing this over and over again. Finally, they got rid of the Queen. I don't mean got rid of. Finally, the Queen got out, and I was able to stop singing this song. Anyway, I was in New Zealand just recently, and I was with a friend of mine, and she said, "Look, I've just been with 3 singers, three girl singers. I can't remember their names. I wish I could." And I told them I was meeting you tonight, and the singer said, "Oh my God, can you apologize to him that we left the stage in 1990, but we had other concerts, we had other gigs to do, so we had to leave him on his own." So they remembered right up until 2023 that they had screwed up and left the stage and left me alone. And they apologized to me.
And I have watched that video on YouTube, and I've seen the vein sticking out of your neck, and I'm waiting for, and I'm getting nervous and anxious just watching you. you've had this big international hit. What's been your career since then?
Well, basically, as I said, I've just been playing around Europe with my Norwegian band, and obviously trying to write and record. But, you know, the music business changed so much, and it was very difficult for me to, you know, find the right amount of money to record and, you know, and try and write. I mean, I've been writing all the time, but to try and write and find a record company that believe in, you know, the older, balding gentleman, you know, when the world was full of, you know, pop stars. And so I decided I had to go out on the road and you know, be a troubadour musician, because that's, if you're not playing concerts, then you aren't, in my opinion, not really a musician. I mean, you can make records, and I tried to, you know, write and record, but I just wasn't successful at doing it. So, but what I was successful at doing was going and entertaining people around Europe, playing concerts with what I consider to be a fantastic band. And that's what I was doing. And that's what I did up until last year when I stopped.
Okay, Chris, I'd like to, before we finish up, I'd like to just talk, well, there's a few things I'd like to talk about. But
just before you finish, I mean, I'd love to make myself sound, you know, as successful as I was in the 70s and the 80s. But, you know, that's not the truth of it. The truth of the matter is, you know, you have a career length, and then, you know, you find a way to get your voice out to the people, and that was, you know, and that was live performance, and that is what I've been doing.
So,
I mean, I did lots of sessions for people. I mean, you can't, you know, I always was working, always was doing sessions, you know, but that's basically what I was doing, being a musician out on the road, singing songs.
Well, that might be a good.
Singing mice.
That might be a good time to bring up. We forgot to mention the Alan Parsons, who you worked with as well.
Yeah. Well, I worked with Alan, made one album with Alan, and went on the road, which was really fantastic because I got to sing those wonderful Alan Parsons songs, and in fact, I think that was my best singing was live was with Alan. Because I got to sing those really great songs, and we made a live album actually, Alan Parsons Live, and you should, yeah, if you want to. I think that was the best singing I did was with Alan, and we made one record which wasn't really successful, but we, you know, he wrote this one song called "Turn It Up," which I think is a really great song, and I never understood. I mean, there's Alan Parsons, who's had huge success so much. And he does a new album and has a hit song on it, but just can't get it played on American radio. That was what happened at that time. So we went out and we played live in South America. We played in America. We played in all over Europe, and it was fantastic. Alan's such a lovely guy and has those fantastic songs, and I was lucky enough to be able to sing them. And I was, you know, I think that was at the height of my my ability to sing songs was that time with Alan.
Audio Culture is a website that catalogues popular music in New Zealand. It's sort of the history of New Zealand popular music, and it's filled with very detailed articles written by really talented researchers. There's an article about Kiwis who have been to number one in America, and you're mentioned, but the presumption is that because you were born in the UK, you don't really count. But you are but you are a Kiwi.
As I said to you, you know, I've got a Kiwi passport. I keep it up to date. I visit all the time. I've got New Zealand nationality, so I think I kind of count as a Kiwi, really. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we could clarify that, because when I read it, I got in touch with the guy who wrote the article, and I said, look, I'm going to get in touch with Chris, and I'm going to ask him about this. And of course, as soon as I got in touch with you, you confirmed straight away that you were a Kiwi, but you were more than just a Kiwi. You were a proud Hamiltonian. saw Hamilton as a very important part of your life, and
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like they put me in the Hall of Fame, which I really loved. And in fact, I went back to the school when I was in New Zealand during your winter. We were there in July, and I took my kids, took them to see a proper school assembly, and I spoke to the boys. And you know, I'm friends with the head mistress or headmaster, she calls herself, Sue Hassel. She's a lovely person, and you know, the school was a huge part of my father's life and a huge part of my life, and you know, I support the schoolboy rowing there, which my father started. So I consider myself as somebody who really holds Hamilton in the highest regard as being, if it hadn't been for Hamilton Boys High School and Barry Fell, I would not have been the person that I am. I would not have been. He taught me so much to do with music and you know, taught me how to sing really properly. And no, I mean, Hamilton, as I said, I took my kids to the school, and when I was there last time, and I will continue to be involved with the high school and with the rowing. So I consider myself to be a proud Hamiltonian.
So
Definitely.
we can say with absolute certainty that the first Kiwi to hold down the number one spot on the American singles charts was not just, was from Hamilton.
Yeah, you could say that, absolutely.
And that's a wonderful achievement, Chris. Puts you in the highest level of everything, really.
Well, yeah, it's yeah. Well, you can say that. I mean, I did get to the highest level in pop music. You can say number one in America. I think is as high as you can get.
So let's wrap up the interview. Of course, I'll be playing all the songs that you have mentioned. I'll be playing those through the course of this interview. But what would you like to say about your career? How would you like to be remembered?
I've been a very, very lucky person to achieve, to come from Hamilton, New Zealand, and achieve, you know, international success. I think, both in America and in Europe. You know, I wouldn't put myself in the same class as people like Paul McCartney or Elton or anything like that. But I have carved out what I consider to be a very successful career. I've been very lucky to do what I've done, and I've enjoyed it unbelievably, and enjoyed it up to the last minute of my last concert at the end of 2022. And I've been a musician all that time. I've been a singer all that time. And I'm very proud of what I've done. And, yeah, I'd like to be remembered as somebody who could really sing a song. And you said it to me. I think the thing that I've been able to achieve with my singing is to put emotion into the song and make it really talk to the people who hear it. And that's what I think I could do best, was, you know, be a singer who could put emotion into a song, like nobody else. I think that was my forte, and obviously there's other people who could put emotion into songs, but I think there's something special about my voice at the time when I was being very successful, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. It was the emotion that comes across when I sing, and it's because my heart's in it. That's why.
Now, on your social media, there's a recent picture of you with Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And how does Bruce feel about your take on "Blinded by the Light"? Now, before you actually answer that, I've got to say I've listened to Bruce's version and your version, and they're very, very different songs.
They are. They're completely different songs. I mean, Bruce and I didn't talk about it this time when I saw him. But when I first met him in Switzerland in like 1979, I asked him what he thought of the song. And his answer was, "What's the name of that other song you have at the moment?" And And I said, you mean Hot Summer Nights? He said, yeah, that song. I really like that song. So I don't think he liked our version of Blinded by the Light. In fact, I know he did. I mean, you know, Bruce is wonderful. Bruce is, you know, what can you say about Bruce? He's Bruce. He's the boss. You know, he's written so much, sung so much. He's another person who sings with amazing emotion. And, you know, I went and saw him. That's where the photo was taken from. I went and saw him. I mean, he's just wonderful. He's Bruce Springsteen. But he didn't like that. And I think he was always upset that it was his first number one. But on the other hand, you know, and this is a piece of information that most people don't have, and that is that at the time that Blinded by the Light was being successful, Bruce couldn't record, he couldn't sing, he couldn't do gigs. I mean, he could sing, obviously, but he couldn't do gigs because of the contractual issues that he had at the time. So Blinded by the Light actually really brought him money at exactly the right time to keep, to keep the E Street Band together and to, and to be able to sort out his contractual stuff. And I'm always upset that he doesn't actually say anything about that. But, you know, that's him. He, you know, whatever it is, people see things the way they want to see them. But, you know, Bruce is fantastic. And we were lucky enough to be able to have a hit with that song. But it isn't the same song as it is a very different song to his version.
It wasn't.
And I like it.
It wasn't just that song, of course, either. You recorded, well, I can't remember how many Bruce Springsteen songs you recorded, but there were 3 or 4 of them, I think, weren't there?
For You was another song that I was lucky enough to sing that song in a different way to him, of course, with just piano and voice of Manfred. And we did also Spirits in the Night, we did that as well. I think those are the 3 we did. I can't think of another one. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to do those songs. You know, Bruce wrote them. We had our own versions of them, which I'm very proud of.
Well, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. And this has been a very special interview for me because I feel that not enough people in the Waikato know your story, and it's sort of become my mission at the moment to let people know that you, the first person to hit number one from New Zealand to hit number one in the US, the biggest music market in the world. You wrote one of the most iconic pop songs of the 1980s, and you come from Hamilton, and I want people to know about that.
Well, you're going to work on that statue then, are you?
Well, I keep on seeing in my head, I keep on seeing a Chris Thompson statue standing on the other side of the little plaza where Richard O'Brien's statue is.
That would be fantastic. But I think it would be nice to get into the New Zealand Pop Hall of Fame. I think that would be something that I would love. But, you know, I can't see that happening. But the statue, that would be nice. Yeah.
Well, I hadn't thought of that, Chris, but now you've put the idea into my head. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, man. I mean, the statue was your idea.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Andrew.
With these projects, there are some time constraints, and some things have had to be left out, like Chris's work with the Doobie Brothers and film composers Harold Faltermeyer and Jan Hammer. Then there's the session work with some of the biggest names in the music business. That's a whole other story in itself. It's been a big career that's included 5 appearances in the American Top 40 singles charts, several million-selling albums, and too many European and UK chart appearances to mention. As for his life as it is now, he's happily married to Inga and father of 2 teenage girls, and while he might have retired from performing, he's still writing. Chris and Inga are working on a musical. On their way home from their recent trip to New Zealand, Inga said, "If we can get our musical performed live on stage in Auckland to an audience of our friends and colleagues, we can die happy." On that note, I'd like to thank Free FM's Gary Farrow, who made this interview possible, and of course, thanks to Chris for his time. Songs in order of appearance. Hot Summer Nights by Night from the 1979 album Night. The voice from a 2007 live performance by Chris Thompson and Brings. This is the Moment, the official anthem of the 1990 Auckland Commonwealth Games. Turn It Up from the 1993 album Try Anything Once by Alan Parsons. No Stopping Us Now from the 1980 Doobie Brothers album One Step Closer, written by Michael McDonald, Patrick Simons and Chris Thompson. The Challenge, the official song for the 1989 Wimbledon Tennis Championships, written by Chris Thompson and Harold Faltermeyer.